for a notion, salesman.
Aboard? Oh, aboard?
Why not? What's the matter with credit?
It's old-fashioned. Charlie, you're an anvil salesman. Your firm give credit?
No, sir.
Nor anybody else.
River City! River City next!
Cash for the merchandise. Cash for the button hooks.
Cash for the cotton goods, cash for the hard goods,
Cash for the soft goods. Cash for the fancy goods.
cash for the noggins and the piggins and the firkins.
Cash for the hogshead, cash and cabbage yard, cash for the crackers and the pickles and the flour paper.
Look, what are you talking? What are you talking? What are you talking? What are you talking? What are you talking?
Where do you get it?
What are you talking?
You can talk, you can talk, you can bigger, you can talk, you can bigger, 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 you can talk, you can talk, you can talk, bigger, 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 you can talk all you want, but it's different than it was.
No, it ain't. No, it ain't. But you gotta know the territory.
Squats a Model T Ford, made the trouble, made the people wanna go, wanna get up and go. 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 14, 22, 23 miles to the county seat.
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
Who's gonna patronize a little bitty 2x4 kind of store anymore?
What are you talking? What are you talking?
Where do you get it?
Not the Model T at all. Take a gander at the store, at the margarine store, at the present day store, at the present day margarine departmentalized grocery store.
What are you talking? What are you talking? What are you talking? What are you talking? What are you talking?
Where do you get it?
What are you talking? What are you talking? What are you talking?
Where do you get it? You can talk, you can bigger, you can talk, you can bigger, you can talk, bigger, 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 you can talk all you want, but it's different than it was.
No, it ain't. But you gotta know the territory.
Why, it's you need a biscuit man in trouble. You need it. Put the crackers in the package. You need a biscuit in an airtight sanitary package. Made the Cracker Barrel obsolete.
Obsolete.
Cracker Barrel went out the window with the mail pouch cut plug chowing by the stove. Changed the approach of the traveling salesman. Made it pretty hard.
No, it didn't. But you gotta know the territory.
Gone with the hogshead, cask, and demijohn. Gone with the sugar barrel, pickle barrel, milk pan. Gone with the tub and the pail of tears. Ever meet a fella by the name of Hill?
Hill.
No!
Just a minute.
I never heard of any salesman Hill.
Now he doesn't know the territory.
Doesn't know the territory.
What's a fella's line?
Never worries about his line.
Never worries about his line.
Or the Cracker Barrel being obsolete. Or the you need a biscuit in an airtight sanitary package of the Model T Ford.
Just a minute.
Never worries about his line.
Never worries about his line.
For a doggone thing, he's just a bang beat, bell ringing, big Paul, great go, neck to nothing, rip roaring every time a bullseye salesman. That's Professor Harold Hill.
Tell us, what's his line?
He's a fake, and he doesn't know the territory.
What are you talking? What are you talking? What are you talking? What are you talking?
He's a music man.
He's a what?
He's a music man, and he sells clarinets to the kids in the town with the big trombones and the rat-a-tat drums and the big brass bass. And the piccolo uniform too, with shiny gold braid on the coat and a big red stripe running. Well, I don't know much about bands, but I do know you can make a living selling big trombones. No, sir. Mandolin picks perhaps, and here and there a Jew's harp. No, the fella sells bands. Boys' bands. I don't know how he does it, but he lives like a king, and he dollies, and he gathers, and he plucks, and he shines, and when the man dances, certainly, boys, what else? The piper pays him. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. When the man dances, certainly, boys, what else? The piper pays him.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But he doesn't know the territory.
River City, we're across state line into Iowa. River City, population 2,212. The cigarettes illegal in this city.
All aboard!
All right, if you're all through, I'll tell you about Harold Hill.
You really know Harold Hill?
Never seen him before in my life, but I can tell you this much. He's given every one of us a black eye. After he's worked the town over, the next salesman to arrive gets automatically tarred and feathered and rode out of the city limits on a rail. You think that's funny? Wait till it happens to you. Your hair never grows back.
But why should he get rode out of town on a rail?
Because in order to sell band instruments and uniforms and instruction booklets, he has to guarantee to teach them kids to play.
Well,
And to form them kids into a band with himself as the leader.
so what's wrong with that?
He don't know one note from another, that's what's wrong with that. He can't himself a bass drum from a pipe organ. I'll catch up with that swingling tubist nimmerigger, and when I do, I'll squeal on him so loud.
Wow, you're mad, Charlie. Select a breather when you catch up with that fella.
Won't be on this trip. Not in Iowa. Even the great Professor Harold Hill wouldn't try to sell them neck-bowed Hawkeyes out there.
Whoa, boy!
Gentlemen, you intrigue me. I think I'll have to give Iowa a try.
Don't believe I caught your name.
Don't believe I threw it.
Provided you are contrary.
Good morning, Mayor Shin. Good morning, Mayor Shin.
It is if you want to go around in your drawers all day.
And there I was, in the Madison Hospital. And nobody come to see me. Cousin Will never come. Aunt Bertha never come. Your Aunt Bertha's dead. Well, she wouldn't have come anyway.
We can be cold as a falling thermometer in December if you ask about our weather in July. And we're so bright on summer we can stand, but you know the sorrow we get time to never see eye to eye. What will give you our shirts and our back to go with it? Give your
So what the heck? You're welcome.
Glad to have you with us, even though we may not ever mention it again. You really ought to give Iowa, Hawkeye, Iowa, Dubuque, Des Moines, Davenport, Marshalltown, Mason City, Clearfield, Ames, Clear Lake. Ought to give Iowa a try.
Ah, you're Mr. Squires?
Yes?
I'm interested in a rig for Sunday if you could accommodate me.
Then I suggest you see the man in charge of hiring rig. Who was late as usual.
Oh.
Gregory!
Marcellus?
Greg, you old son of a gun!
Hill's the name. Professor Harold Hill.
But Greg, why didn't you let me know you was coming?
I didn't know I was coming. And besides, how was I supposed to know you'd end up in a little tank town like this? You're a pretty big slicker when you're in business with me.
Hey, too many close shaves with the way you work. Besides, I got me a nice, comfortable girl. Ethel Toffelmeyer, boss's niece.
Gone legitimate, huh? I knew you'd come to no good.
So, what's the new pitch? You're not back in the band business, are you, Greg? I heard you was in steam automobiles.
Oh, I was.
Well, what happened?
Somebody actually invented one.
Oh.
Now, give me the lowdown here, Mars.
No, you're never gonna get anywhere with these stubborn irons, Greg. Besides, we got a stuck-up music teacher here who'll expose you before you get your grip unpacked.
Male or female?
The music teacher, she's the librarian. She's a female.
Perfect. That's just what I wanted to hear. Now, if she passes, point her out to me.
All right, so how you gonna start the new pitch?
Same old way. First, gotta keep that music teacher off balance. Then, have to rescue River City out of the terrible trouble it's in.
But Greg, River City isn't in any trouble.
Then I'll have to create some. Have to create a desperate need for a boys' band, you remember. Now, what's new around here? What can I use?
Nothing. Oh, except the billiard parlor did just put in a new pool table.
I never had a pool table here before.
No, they only had billiards.
All right, Mars. Well, that'll do. And remember, music teacher.
Music teacher.
Ah, you're Mr. Dunlop?
Yep.
Friend, either you're closing your eyes to a situation you do not wish to acknowledge, or you're unaware of the caliber of disaster indicated by the presence of a pool table in your community. Well, you got trouble, my friends. Right here, I say trouble right here in River City. Why, sure, I'm a billiard player, certainly mighty proud to say. I'm always mighty proud to say it. I consider the hours I spend with the cue in my hand are gold. Help you cultivate horse sense and a cool head and a keen eye. Did you ever take and try and give an ironclad leaf to yourself from a 3-rail billiard shot? But just as I say it takes judgment, brains, and maturity to score in a ball climb game, I say that ain't boo. Can take and shove a ball in a pocket. And I call that slot. The first big step on the road to the depths of degradee. I say first it's a little of medicinal wine from a teaspoon, then beer from a bottle. And the next thing you know, your son is playing for money in a pitchback suit. And listening to some big out-of-town Jasper here tell about horse race gambling. Not a wholesome trotting race, no, but a race where they sit down right on the horse. Like to see some stuck-up jockey boy sitting on Dan Patch, making blood boil, well, I should say. Now, friends, let me tell you what I mean. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pockets in the table. Pockets that mark the difference between a gentleman and a bum with a capital B, and that rhymes with P, and that stands for pool. And all week long, your River City youth will be frittering away. I say your young men will be frittering. Frittering away there, noontime, suppertime, chore time, too. Get the ball in the pocket, never mind getting dandelions forward to the screen door patch for the beefsteak fountain. Never mind pumping any water to your parents' are got with a cistern empty on a Saturday night, and that's trouble. Yes, you got lots and lots of trouble. I'm thinking about the kids in the knickerbocker shirts out, young ones, peeking in the pool hall window after school. Trouble. Folks right here in River City. Trouble with a capital T, and that rhymes with P, and that stands for pool. Now I know all you folks are the right kind of parents. I'm gonna be perfectly frank. Would you like to know what kind of conversation goes on while I'm open around that hall? They'll be trying out Bevo, trying out Cubas, trying out tailor-made like cigarette beans, and bragging all about how they're gonna cover up a telltale Brentwood sin. One fine night, they leave the pool hall, heading for the dance of the RA, Liberty men and college women in rags. Shameless music that'll grab your son, your daughter, in the arms of the jungle, animal instinct, mass hysteria. Friends, the idle brain is the devil's playground trouble. Oh, yeah, trouble. Right here in River City. Right here in River City. With a capital T, and that rhymes with P, and that stands for pool. That stands for pool. We surely got trouble. We surely got trouble. Right here in River City. Right here. Gotta figure out a way to keep the young ones moral after school.
Our children's children gonna have trouble.
Mothers of River City, heed the warning before it's too late. Beware of the telltale signs of corruption. The minute your son leaves the house, does he rebuck those knickerbockers below the knee? Is there a nicotine stain on his index finger? A dime novel hidden in the corn crib? Is he starting to memorize jokes out of Captain Billy's whiz bag? Are certain words creeping into his conversation? Words like swell and so's your old man. Well, if so, my friends, you got trouble. Oh, we got trouble. Right here in River City. Right here in River City. With a capital T, and that rhymes with P, and that stands for pool. That stands for pool. We surely got trouble. We surely got trouble. Right here in River City. Right here. Remember the Maine, the Plymouth Rock, and the Golden Rule. Our children's children. Oh, we got trouble. Oh, yes, we're in terrible, terrible trouble. That game was a 15 number ball. The devil's school. Devil's school. Oh, yes, we got trouble, trouble, trouble. Oh, yes, we got trouble here. We got big, big trouble. With T. Capital T. Rhyme with P. That rhyme with P. That stands for pool. That stands for
Oh, we got
Did you drop your...
No.
Well, didn't I see you in...
No.
But I'm only gonna be in town a short while.
Good. Marion, is that you, dear? Yes, Mama. Keep on, Amaryllis. I'll be there in a minute. Hello, Mama. Fine, dear. Now your exercises. Yes, ma'am. I don't remember the library being open last 4th of July. It was, Mama. All evening. Mama, a man with a suitcase has been following me all over town. Oh? Who? I never saw him before. Well, did he say anything? He tried. Well, did you say anything? Mama, of course not. Now don't dawdle, Amaryllis. So, do, la, re, ti, mi, a little slower, and please keep the fingers curved as nice and high as you possibly can. Don't get faster, dear.
Well, if you don't mind my saying so, it wouldn't have hurt you to find out what the gentleman wanted.
I know what the gentleman wanted.
What, dear?
You'll find it in Balzac.
Well, excuse me for living, but I've never read it.
Neither has anyone else in this town.
And there you go again with that same old comment about the low mentality of River City people and taking it all too much to heart.
Now, Mama, as long as the Madison Public Library was entrusted to me for the purpose of improving River City's cultural level, I can't help my concern that the ladies of River City keep ignoring all my counsel and advice.
But darling, when a woman has a husband and you've got none, why should she take advice from you, even if you can quote Balzac and Shakespeare and all them other highfalutin Greeks?
Now, Mama, if you don't mind my saying so, you've had a bad habit of changing every subject.
No, I haven't changed the subject. I was speaking to that stranger.
What stranger?
The suitcase who may be our very last chance.
Mama, do you think that I'd allow a common masher? No, really, Mama. I have my standards where men are concerned, and I have no intention.
I know all about your standards, and if you don't mind my saying so, there's not a man alive who could hope to measure up to that blend of Paul Bunyan, St. Patrick, Noah Webster you've concocted for yourself and your Irish imagination, your Iowa stubbornness, and your library full of books.
Well, if that isn't the best I've ever heard.
Thank you. Can I have a drink, please?
May I have?
May I have a drink, please?
Yes, dear.
Winthrop? It's after dark. Well, is that any way to walk into a house?
Hello.
Oh, that won't do it all. I'll have a kiss for my boy. Well, that lady over there is your sister, young man.
Hello, Winthrop. Having a party on Saturday. Would you please come? Well, I would especially like it if you'd come. Winthrop?
Well, Winthrop, Amaryllis asked you to her party. Are you going or aren't you?
No.
No what?
No, thank you.
You know the little girl's name.
He won't say Amaryllis because of the S, because of his lisp. He's ashamed.
We know all about his lisp, Amaryllis.
Well, Winthrop, I'll bet he won't say it.
No, thank you, Amaryllis.
Amaryllis, Amaryllis. Oh, he's crying. Why does he get so mad at people just because he lisps?
Oh, it's not just because he lisps. Amaryllis, that's just part of it.
Well, what's the other part?
Never mind, dear. It's just that he never talks very much.
Not even to you and your mother?
No, dear. We all have to try to be a little patient.
Well, I'm patient, even though he doesn't ever talk to me. But I talk to him every night. I say goodnight to him on the Evening Star. You have to say it the very second you see it, too, or it doesn't count. Good night, my Winthrop. Good night. Sleep tight.
Oh, there, darling, don't cry. You have lots of time. If not Winthrop, there'll be someone else.
Never, I'll end up an old maid just like you.
I'm sorry, Miss Marion. Can I play my cross?
May I play?
May I play my crosshand piece?
You may.
See? Without a sweetheart, you have no one to say goodnight to on the Evening Star.
I know, Amaryllis. For the time being, just say goodnight, my someone. You can fill in the right name when the right someone comes along.
All right. It's better than nothing.
Yes, it is. Now you can play your crosshand piece.
Now I may play my crosshand piece.
Good night, my someone. Good night, my love. Sleep tight, my someone. Sleep tight, my love. I'll
grateful to my wife, Eulalie McKechnie, for leading the singing, and to J.C. Squires for his fine stereopticon slides. And to Ethel Toffelmeyer, our fine piano player. Piano. As mayor of River City, I welcome you, River citizens, to the 4th of July exercises set up here for the indoors in Madison Gymnasium. Account the weather. 4 score. Four score. The members of the school board will now present a patriotic tableau. The members of the school board will not present a patriotic tableau. Some disagreement about costumes, I suppose. Instead, the Watawni girls from the local wigwam Hiawatha will present a spectacle, my wife. In which my wife, Eulalie McKechnie, will take a leading part.
What on ye? What on ye? What on ye? What on ye? I will now count to 20 in the Indian tongue. Een, teen, tether, further. Oh, George, I've been shot! George, you shot me!
Who set off that cracker?
I know who did it. Tommy Gilas did it. Tommy Gilas did it. Yes, it was Tommy Gilas.
Tommy Gilas! I wouldn't leave if I was you.
Mrs. Shin will recover. No thanks to a certain young ruffian who was a disgrace to our city for 7. The Payne's fireworks spectacle, last days of Pompeii, will take place provided the rain stops by 9:30. It'll be out to Madison Picnic Park in the far meadow, across the creek from the pest house.
How can it be raining? Didn't the Gazette predict fair?
Sure did, York. That's why we prepared for the storm.
The Gazette is accurate most of the time, and you know it, JC.
You wouldn't last long in the banking business being accurate most of the time.
Now just a minute here, let's have order here. Order, order.
Number 8's late again tonight.
I make her early.
She's late, all right.
She's right on time. What's the matter?
We members of the school board stop bickering in public.
Here, watch, I think that
All in the world that I said.
Never mind. 4 score.
We heard there was a pool table in town.
Yes, that's what I heard.
Now just a minute.
Well, is it a pool table or isn't it?
Will you allow me to get on with the exercises?
We don't want any more exercises till we get this pool table business settled.
Let's protect our children.
Yeah!
Resist sin and corruption.
Yeah!
Smite that devil and keep our young boys pure.
Yeah!
Friends, may I have your attention, please? Attention, please. I can deal with this trouble, friends, with a wave of my hand, this very hand. Please observe me, if you will. I'm Professor Harold Hill, and I'm here to organize the River City Boys Band. Oh, think, my friends, how can any pool table ever hope to compete with the gold trombone? Ra-da, ra-da-da-da-da-da-da. Remember, my friends, what a handful of trumpet players did for the famous, fabled walls of Jericho. Oh, billiard parlor walls come a-tumbling down. Oh, a band will do it, oh yes, my friend, it's a boys band, you hear me? I say River City's gotta have a boys band, I mean she needs it today. Well, Professor Harold Hill's on hand, and River City's gonna have her boys band, as sure as the Lord made little green apples, and that band's gonna be in uniform. Johnny, Willie, Teddy, Fred, and you'll see the glimmer of the crashing cymbals, and hear the thunder of the rolling drums, the shimmer of trumpets. Dun-da-da! And you'll feel something akin to the electric thrill I once enjoyed when Gilmore, Liberace, Pat Conway, the great Creator, W.C. Handy, and John Philip Sousa all came to town on the very same historic day. 76 trombones led the big parade, with 110 cornets close at hand. They were followed by rows and rows of the finest virtuosos, the cream of every famous band. 76 trombones caught the morning sun, with 110 cornets right behind. There were more than 1,000 reeds springing up like weeds. There were horns of every shape and kind. There were copper-bottom symphony and horse platoons, thundering, thundering all along the way. Double bell euphoniums and big bassoons, each bassoon having its big fat say. There were 50 mounted cannon in the battery, thundering, thundering louder than before. Clarinets of every size and trumpeters would improvise a full octave higher than the score. 76 trombones hit the counterpoint, 110 cornets blazed away. The rhythm of march, 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 all the kids began to march, and the marching still right today.
This calls for emergency action. That man's a spellbinder. Haven't seen Iowa people get so excited since the night Frank Koch and Strangler Lewis lay on the mat for 3.5 hours without moving a muscle. That was exciting. Never mind. I want that man's credentials. Grab that hoodlum. He almost blew up Mrs. Shin.
Hey, Professor, make an example of him. Ringleaders, you know. What he does, the gang does.
Jimmy Clyde, let me go.
You wild kid, ya. Hanging around my eldest girl. His father's one of them day laborers south of town. You wild kid, ya. Tagging down Main Street after my eldest girl last Sunday.
I wasn't even tagging.
Don't you contradict me.
We was just walking together. Jimmy Clyde.
You watch your phraseology. I know what you's doing, my little Gracie senior. Now you stay away from my eldest girl. You'll hear from me till who laid the rails. I'll talk to you Monday morning about this band thing. Over at City Hall. 10 o'clock sharp. I want that man's credentials.
Constable, I'll be responsible for the boy. You don't know this kid, he's tough. He's got his whole gang waiting outside.
Oh, I'll be careful. Tommy, I'd like to talk to you about the band.
Ah, gee, Professor. That's for little kids.
Oh, I'm not talking about you being in the band. Why, you're mechanically inclined, aren't you, Tommy? Ever done anything with perpetual motion?
Nearly had it a couple times.
Oh, well, you did. Well, then you're my man. Tommy, do you realize that nobody's ever invented a music holder for the marching piccolo player? There's no place to hang the music.
Wonder where I could get some wire from.
Check your cellar. That's where people keep wires. Oh, and Tommy, now, Constable, I'll show you how to really break up a gang. Oh, young lady. Oh, miss. What's your name?
Oh, it's Anita. I didn't have any idea he was beckoning to me. Go
Zanita, do you know Tommy Gilas?
Well,
Tommy, this is Anita. Escort the young lady home.
Oh, only accepting I'm not going home. I have to go to the library. God.
All right, then, Tommy, escort the young lady home by way of the library. By way of the candy kitchen.
Yes, sir. Do I have to?
Oh, you have to.
Yes, sir.
Ye gods.
Professor, you're a pretty bright young fellow. You made a couple mistakes, though.
Oh?
The mayor happens to own the bird parlor and the new pool table.
Oh. And what was my other mistake?
That's Anita. She's the mayor's oldest girl.
Just a minute, Professor Hill. We'd like to see your credentials. We're the school board.
Academic certificates.
Nothing of the kind. We need letters and papers.
Make him put up a bond.
What am I hearing? Say.
Ice cream.
Ice cream. But I don't sing, young man.
Well, then talk it.
Down here.
Ice cream.
Now talk.
Slow. Ice cream.
You see? Singing is only sustained talking. Now you.
Ice cream.
Now you right here.
Ice cream.
Now you, sir. Ladies, from this point on, you'll never see one of these gentlemen without the other three.
Professor, you're wrong. Why, they've hated each other for 15 years.
Ice cream. Ice cream. Ice cream. How can there be any sin insincere? Where is the good in goodbye? In goodbye. Your apprehensions confuse me, dear. Puzzle and mystify, tell me what can be fair in farewell, dear, while one single star shines above. How can there be any sin insincere? Aren't we sincerely in love? Oh, we're in I don't suppose you live alone or anything.
No!
Well, I have some wonderful caramels over at the
Mr. Hill.
Professor Hill.
Professor of what? At what college do they give a degree for annoying women on the street? Like a Saturday afternoon rowdy at the public dance hall.
Well, I wouldn't know anything about that. I'm a conservatory man myself. Gary, Indiana, gold medal class of '05.
Even should that happen to be true, does that give you the right to follow me all over town, wherever I go? Another thing, Mr. Hill. I'm not as easily mesmerized or hoodwinked as some people in this town. And I think it only fair to warn you that I have a shelf full of reference materials in there, which may very well give me some interesting information about you.
Oh, hey, Gregory.
Hey, Marcellus. And don't call me Greg.
So, how'd you make out with that music teacher?
Ah, scrumptious. Say it out of my hand the minute I tipped my hat.
She did. Boy, did you cut a swat tonight, you know, for a man. Even I thought you knew something about leading a band. Just like when we used to imitate that band concert fellow back in Joplin.
Yeah, that was kid stuff. I'm in rare form these days, son. You just watch me over the next 4 weeks.
4 weeks? But it only used to take 10 days for instruments to arrive.
Oh, it still does. But it takes 4 weeks for the uniforms.
Oh, no, Greg, you haven't added uniforms.
Uniforms and instruction books.
Instruction books? But you can't pass yourself off as a music professor, I mean, not for any 4 weeks. But you don't know one note from another.
Don't have to. I have a revolutionary new method called the Think System, where you don't bother with notes.
But in 4 weeks, the people want to hear the music. You're gonna have to lead a band.
But by the time the uniforms get here, they forget everything else. At least long enough for me to collect and leave. Oh, this is a refined operation, son. I've got it timed down to the last wave of the brakeman's hand on the last train out of town. Now, if you'll excuse me, Mr. Washburn.
Huh? You're gonna line yourself up a little canoodling, huh?
Well...
Say, I could fix you up with Ethel's sister. She's a lovely girl. She teaches Sunday school.
Oh, no. No wide-eyed, eager, wholesome, innocent Sunday school teacher for me. That kind of gal spins webs no spider ever... Listen, boy. A gal who trades on all that purity merely wants to trade my independence for her security. The only affirmative she will file refers to marching down the aisle. No golden, glorious, gleaming, pristine goddess. No, sir. For no Diana do I play fawn. I can tell you that right now. I snarl. I hiss. How can ignorance be compared to bliss? I spark and I fizz. For the lady who knows what time it is, I cheer and I rave. For the virtue I'm too late to save. The sadder but wiser girl for me. Bright-eyed, blushing, restless baby doll baby. No, sir, that kind of child ties knots no sailor ever knew. I prefer to take a chance on a more adult romance. No dewy young miss who keeps resisting. All the time she keeps insisting. No wide-eyed, wholesome, innocent female. No, sir, why she's the fisherman, I'm the fish you see. Flop, I flinch, I shy. When the lass with a delicate air walks by, I smile and I grin. When the gal with a touch of sin walks in, I hope and I pray for Esther to win just one more ray. The sadder but wiser girl's the girl for me. The sadder but wiser girl for me.
Professor Hill! Well, we're all agog! Simply agog!
On the qui-vive!
Everyone's so excited about the band! I'm Ethel Toppelmeyer.
The pianola girl. And this is Mrs. Squires and Mrs. Hicks. And of course, you know, Eulalie McKechnie-Shin, our mayor's wife. Isn't it exciting, Eulalie?
Oh, I could not say. It is I could not say at this time. My husband wished to investigate, I am sure. And naturally, I'm reticent. Simply reticent.
Oh, yes, of course, Mr. Shin. I understand. But you see, a part of my music plans include a committee on the dance. And oh, my, Mrs. Shin, the way you just moved your foot.
Oh, I have a bunion that bothers me.
What grace. What natural flow of rhythm. What expression of line and movement.
Mr. Hill!
Oh, Mrs. Shin, you must accept the chairmanship of the ladies of the auxiliary classic dance. Mustn't you, ladies?
Yes,
Mrs. Shin, every movement bespeaks Delsarte.
Eulalie McKechnie-Shin. Oh, that dancing well.
Then you accept?
Yes, indeed.
Thank you. And now about the piano teacher, Marian Peru, I believe. Well, after all, she is the librarian.
Pick a little, talk a little, pick a little, talk a little, cheep, 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 talk a lot, pick a little more, pick a little, talk a little, pick a little, talk a little, cheep, 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 talk a lot, pick a little more, pick a little, talk a little, pick a little, talk a little, cheep, 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 talk a lot, pick a but she advocates dirty books.
Dirty books?
Pick a little tuck, pick a little tuck, pick a love, pick a little balls, pick a little tuck, cheep, 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 cheep. And the worst thing, of course I shouldn't tell you this, but the man lived on my street, let me tell. Stop.
Squirrels flew by night.
She made brazen overtures to men who never had a friend in this town until she came here.
Couldn't make my...
Old miser Madison.
Miser Madison. Madison Gymnasium? Madison Picnic Park? Madison Hospital? That's Miser Madison.
Exactly. Who do you think he was anyway?
Well, I should say, the show-off probably gave the town the library too, didn't he?
That's just it. He left River City the library building.
But he left all the books to her.
She was seen coming and going from his place.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. That woman made brazen overtures with a gilt-edged guarantee. She had a golden glint in her eye and a silver voice with a counterfeit ring. Melt her down and you'll reveal a lump of lead as cold as steel here, where a woman's heart should be. He left River City, the library building, but he left all the books to her. Chaucer, Rabelais, Balzac. Cheep, 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 cheep. Pick a little top, a little, pick a little top, a little, cheep, cheep, cheep. Pick a lot, pick a little, pick a little top, a little, pick a little top.
Oh, yes, of course. They're right over in the hotel.
Pick a little top, a little, pick a little
Well, come with me.
cheep, 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 pick a lot, pick a little, pick a little top, a little, pick a little.
Good night, ladies.
Cheep, 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 cheep.
Good night, ladies.
Pick a little top, a little, pick a little top, a little,
Ladies. Good night, ladies. We're going to leave you now. Farewell, ladies. Farewell, ladies. Farewell, ladies. We're going to leave you now. It's all right. I know everything, and it doesn't make any difference.
What are you talking about?
You were probably young. Anyone can make a mistake.
What?
No explanations. No apologies, please. You see, well, I'm only going to be in town a short while, and, well, the sadder but wiser girl for me.
Will you please make your selection and leave?
But I already have.
Well, what do you want to take out?
The librarian.
Quiet, please.
The librarian. You're not listening, Marion. Look. Marion. Marbles. 6 steelies, 8 aggies, a dozen peewees, and 1 giant flatsy with an American flag in the middle. I think I'll drop them.
No!
Madam Librarian. What can I do, my dear, to catch your ear? I love you madly, madly, Madam Librarian. Marion, heaven help us if the library caught on fire and the volunteer hose brigademen had to whisper the news to Marion. Madam Librarian. What can I do, my dear, to make it clear, I need you badly, badly, Madam Librarian. Marion, if I stumbled and I busted my whatchamacallit, I could lie on your floor unnoticed, to my body I'd turn to carrion. Madam Librarian. Now in the moonlight, a man could sing it. In the moonlight. And a fellow would know that his darling had every word of his song with the moonlight helping along. But when I try in here to tell you, dear, I love you madly, madly, Madam Librarian. Marion, it's a long lost cause I can never win, for the civilized world accepts his unforgivable sin, and it's argued out loud with any librarian, such as Marion. Madam Librarian. tell you, dear, I love you madly, madly, Madam Librarian. Marion, it's a long lost cause I can never win. For the civilized world accepts an unforgivable sin. And he's talking out loud with any librarian, such as Marion. Madam Librarian. The ladies' dance committee meets Tuesday nights at the high school. Marshmallow. Pretty good start, Tommy. 11 sales out of 12 tries. Tell you what, it's almost noon. Why don't you go home and get yourself some dinner? I'll try a couple by myself.
Goodbye, Professor.
Thanks, Tommy.
Just a minute here. Are you soliciting? You haven't got a license.
Oh, I know, Mershon. Why, I collect doorbells, and this particular specimen has an unusual tone quality that I've never actually...
Flattery will not avail you. Soliciting is statutory in this county. Malfeasance without a permit. Why haven't you been down to City Hall with your references?
Oh, I just missed you. Oh, Mershon, your hand.
What?
The spread of your little finger, it's hereditary.
It is? What does it mean?
It means that your son's little finger is perfectly situated to operate the spit valve on a B-flat flugelhorn.
Is that good?
Good? It means that America's at long lost produced an artist who can flugel the middle waltz in 50 seconds.
How could I get one of them horns?
Just sign right here, Mershon, and that'll be $17.
Yes, sir. Just think I could have missed this hole. I haven't got any son. You unscrupulous flew-by-night. You unflapulous. You be down to City Hall with your by-God papers at 3 o'clock.
Do you mean this afternoon?
I couldn't make myself any plainer if I was a Quaker on his day off.
Do you realize you have the facial characteristics of a cornet virtuoso?
I don't know if I understand you entirely, Professor.
Well, if your boy has that same firm chin and those splendid cheek muscles, by George. Well, not that he could ever be truly great, you understand? But...
Oh, is that so? And in the name of St. Bridget, why not?
Well, you see, all the truly great cornet players were Irish. Oh, Klein, oh, Clark, oh, Mendez.
But Professor, we are Irish.
No. No, really. Well, that clinches it. Your boy was born to play the cornet. Now, if you could just sign right here, that'll be $7. Oh, well, fine, fine. And not a penny more due until delivery. And of course, I'll need the boy's measurements for his uniform.
His uniform?
Why, hello, son. Why, of course, his uniform. And there's not a penny more due until delivery, which gives you 4 weeks to enjoy, to anticipate, and to imagine. Never allow the demands of tomorrow to interfere with the enjoyment and excitement of today. That's what I always say.
Would it have
A stripe? Why, certainly, my boy, a big red stripe running down each side. What do you say to that?
Oh, you'll have to excuse Winthrop, Professor. We can't get him to say 3 words a day, even to us. And if you get him to play in that band of yours, well, you'll have St. Michael's own way with you. But if anybody could do it, I'd bet you could. Out of a crowd, I'd pick you for a hod-carrying, clay-pipe-smoking, shamrock-wearing, harp playing, mavernine pinching, terrors, whole minstrel singing, Irishman. Big oven me jibbers. Where are you from, me boy?
Gary, Indiana.
I knew it, Gary. Where'd you say?
Gary, Indiana. Actually, Gary Conservatory was my alma mater.
Oh, what's she now?
Gary, Indiana, gold medal class of '05. Well, how to do, Miss Peru?
How to do, Mr. Hill?
Peru, of course. I thought the name sounded familiar. You know, I've
He wants to put Winthrop in the band.
We are not interested, Mama.
But, Marion, the boy might have his father's musical gift. He, does have my jaw, you know.
Oh. Well, the father musical. Well, I should like to talk to him. I'm sure that we can
Do
arrange
you burst in on everyone's home like this, prying into personal affairs? We are not interested.
Marion.
Well, that's 1 for and 1 against. Now, why don't we let the boy's father decide?
The boy's father is dead. Anything else?
Oh. Well, I'm sorry. But isn't that all the more reason why the boy should have something like this?
My brother is a 10-year-old problem child who can't figure out why his father was taken away. Would you care to explain it to him? He's been brooding about it for 2 years. As to your musical tricks, why don't you go into business with some nice carnival man who sells gold-painted watches and glass diamond rings?
Musical tricks, well, I hardly. I get the feeling she likes the idea. A little cautious at first, perhaps, but I admire that in a woman. Just keep me alive and I'll be back later in the week.
Professor, about the boy's measurements. Well, I make all his clothes. A sleeve 21, a waist 18, a crouch 14.
Fine. That's all I need. Now, if you'll excuse me, I really must be getting back to the hotel.
Professor, I do hope you'll excuse Marion. Well, she's not really all that bad.
I'm sure deep down, she's as lovely a woman as you. Good day to you, Widow Peru.
Has he gone?
He has. And I hope not forever. Darling, don't you ever think of your future. Gary, Indiana, conservation class of '05. Now, darling.
Now, Mama, surely a girl's future doesn't depend on encouraging every fast-talking, self-centered traveling man who comes to town. And the fact that he claims his commodity to be music, in this particular case, does not impress me.
All right. Only it's a well-known fact that if you keep the flint in one drawer and the steel in another, you'll never strike much of a fire.
Mama! Winthrop, I know you're there. Please go to the library and ask Miss Grubb to give you the book I set aside. It's the Indiana State Educational Journal, volumes 1890 to 1910. It's a large red volume with blue corners.
Do I have to?
You won't have to talk to anyone. I've written it all down. Thank you, dear.
What are you up to now? Why do you need books at this hour of the night?
I have a feeling the Indiana Journal may help me poke some large holes in the professor's claims.
Well, I give up. At your age, if you don't mind my asking, what kind of white knight do you expect to come riding along?
Well, I'm not waiting for Luther Griner, who backs me into the ancient history shelf every time he comes into the library.
He does?
Or Ed Gamage and that buggy of his with the removable back seat. But I'm not waiting for a man in shining white armor either. My white knight, not a Lancelot, nor an angel with wings, just someone to love me, who is not ashamed of a few nice things. My white knight, what my heart would say if it only knew how. Please, dear Venus, show me now. All I want is a plain
All right, then meet me after supper.
I can't. It's Epworth League night. Well, meet you where?
The footbridge.
You see? Isn't that just what I said? Last time the lumberyard, and now the footbridge. Where are you gonna want to meet me after that? In the black hole of Calcutta? Yeehaw!
I only want to show you my new invention.
What invention?
My music holder for a marching piccolo player. It still has a couple of minor flaws. You see, when you keep it tight enough to hold the music steady, you cut off your circulation, and you can't wiggle your fingers. Meanwhile, you could go blind.
Tommy, it's Papa.
Is that the first thing I said or not?
Yes, George.
Yes, the very first thing I said, or I'll eat hay with the horse. Get that spellbinder's credentials, I said. Morning of July 4th, 1912. And now look, my wife is off dancing at any and all hours instead of in the home.
George!
The school board is singing up street and down alley instead of tending to city matters. My oldest girl is boodling around with some wild kid. And my business has fallen off so far I can't find the balance sheet.
Mayor Shin, I have found something very interesting in this book about Professor Hill's alma mater,
His who?
his university.
I know all about that. In fact, that's the only thing I can ever get out of him. Gary Conservatory, class of '05.
If you'll just take a little bit of time to read about the conservatory, I don't think you'll have to look much further. It's on page 100.
Papa, the Wells Fargo wagon is just coming out from the depot. The Wells Fargo wagon?
A likely story at this hour of the day. Nonsense, the Wells Fargo wagon. The band instruments.
Oh, the Wells Fargo wagon is coming down the street. Oh, please let it be for me. Oh, the Wells Fargo wagon is coming down the street. I wish I knew what it could be.
I got a box of maple sugar on my birthday. Montgomery Ward sent me a bathtub and a cross-cut saw.
Oh, the Wells Fargo wagon is coming down the street. Oh, please raise the price for COT. Or 50 or a double weather. Or it could be, yes, it could be. Yes, you're right, it surely could be. Something very, very special now. Oh, the Wells Fargo wagon is coming down the street. Oh, don't let it pass my door. Oh, the Wells Fargo wagon is coming down the street. I wish I knew what he was coming for. I know he said it from Seattle last September.
I hope I get my raises from the DAR has sent a cannon for the courthouse square.
Wells Fargo wagon is coming down. Oh, how I can never wait to see. It could be something for someone who is not related, but it could be something special just for me.
Here you are, Winthrop.
Thanks, Professor.
Men, you will each receive individual instruction in due course. In the meantime, stay off the streets. Get acquainted with your instruments. And think about the minuet in G. La-di-da-di-da-di-da-di-da. La-di-da, la-di-da.
Sister, isn't this the most scrumptious solid gold thing you ever saw? Have you ever seen anything so scrumptious as a solid gold thing? Oh, sister!
Round one for you, Mr. Hill. But I better hear some by God tootin' out of them horns in pretty short order, or I'll see you in front of the grand jury of the county seat. Now, Miss Marion, about that book.
Come, George, Tempest, Fugit.
You watch your phraseology. Get along if you want to. I've got to get something from the librarian about that book.
The ladies' dance committee meets Tuesday nights at the high school.
put our Grecian urns. 1 Grecian urn. 2 Grecian urns. And a fountain. Trickle, 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 trickle. Oh, splendid, ladies, absolutely splendid. I predict that our Del Salt display will be the highlight of the ice cream sociable. Mr. Dunlop, whenever you're ready. And remember, ladies, don't let me tell you again, always keep your face to the audience. All right, let's practice our posture. Go ahead, Mr. Dunlop.
It's you in the sunrise. It's you in my cup. It's you all the way into town.
It's your sweet hello, dear, that sets me up.
And it's your got to go, dear, that gets me down. It's you on my pillow in all of my dreams, till once more the morning breaks through. What words could be saner or truer or plainer than it's you? It's you.
Smile, girls, smile.
Yes, it's you. Oh, yes, it's you. Come on!
Please, dagger! Mrs. Sin will have my head!
Mr. Washburn, we are entitled to 5 more minutes.
If you think you can hold these kids back, go right ahead.
Start her up, Mr. Washburn. Wait till you see the new step Professor Hill taught us.
All right, Tommy, what'll it be?
The Shakaloopy!
Well, a woman no kiss on the very first date is usually a hussy. And a woman no kiss on the second time out is anything but fussy. But a woman no wait till the third time round, head in the clouds, feet on the ground. She's the girl he's glad he's found. She's shaboopy, 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 shaboopy.
The girl is what you get.
Shaboopy, shaboopy, shaboopy.
But you can't win her yet.
Walk her once, raise the garden, then you walk around twice and make for certain. Once more in a flower garden, she'll never get sore if you beg her pardon. Squeeze her once when she isn't looking. If you get a squeeze back, that's fancy cooking. Once more for a pepper upper, she'll never get sore on her way to supper. Now little old Sal was a no gal, as anyone could see. Look at her now, she's a go gal who only goes for me. Squeeze her once when she isn't looking. If you get a squeeze back, that's fancy cooking. Once more for a pepper upper, she'll never get sore on her way to supper. Shaboopy, shaboopy, shaboopy. Shaboopy, shaboopy, shaboopy.
daughter!
Mr. Shin, Your Honor, your daughter and I have been going steady behind your back.
Why, you...
But we'd rather do it in front of your back.
Do what? Never mind.
Well, Anita's scared of you, but I ain't scared of you. I should think you'd hate to have your own daughter scared of you. Geely Clyde!
I'm going to warn you once more. If I ever catch you touching my daughter, I'll by God horsewhip you till hell won't have it again.
Now, George!
Not one poop out of you, madam.
I think he means people.
Yes. And now get out of this public building.
I got as much right in a public building as anybody.
Right. How do you get any right around here? Aiding and abetting the swindling activities of the spellbinding symbol salesman? You know what I see written all over you? Reform School. Now get out! Get out, you wild kid!
Papa, please! It's capitalists like you make blood in the marketplace. Yeet gods!
You watch your phraseology, young woman. Go home. Eulalie,
Yes, George, I was
you tend to your dance.
My dance! Excuse me?
Al handles Anita, taken up with wild kids from the wrong side of town.
Mayor Shin, if I could just make you understand.
Well, you can't. And by the way, thanks for nothing. I read that book you gave me for a whole week from cover to cover and couldn't find a thing.
Mr. Mayor, if you please.
I'll settle your hash as soon as I get these premises off my oldest girl.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I want you to know one thing. In the meantime, I'm vouching for Tommy Gilas. That boy's got the confidence of every kid in this town. And before long, you'll be standing in line waiting to shake his hand by the time our band plays its first concert.
By the time your band plays its first concert, the individual members will have to foregather on wheelchairs on account of the broken legs they'll get from tripping over their beards. I'll tell you something, my fine young my feathered young. Never mind. Oliver, J.C. Ewart-Olin. I want this man's references and I want him tonight. Don't let him out of your sight. He's slippier than a Mississippi sturgeon.
You mean you want us to get his credentials?
Get his papers or get him in jail. Couldn't make myself any clearer if I was a button hook in the well water.
Oh, Professor Hill! I think Mayor Shin has behaved abominably. And I think it was wonderful of you coming to Tommy's defense.
That? That was nothing.
Oh, yes, it was.
Oh, no. A man can't dodge the issue every time a little personal risk is involved. What does the poet say? The coward dies 1,000 deaths. The brave man? Only 500. Unfortunately, of course, the mayor was already pretty mad on account of the pool table. But now... of course, a recommendation from a musical authority such as yourself would help, but... Well, I couldn't ask you to do a thing like that.
Why, Professor Hill?
You would?
I'd be glad to. I just wish I was a little more informed. I've been meaning to talk to you about Winthrop's cornet.
Yes, this cornet, mother of pearl keys.
Yes, I'm sure it's fine. But you see, he never touches it. Oh, the first week or so, he made a few... experimental blats, I guess you would say.
Yes, blats.
And he sings the minuet in G almost constantly.
La-di-da-di.
Yes, but he never touches the cornet. He tells me you told him it wasn't necessary.
Well, you see...
He tells me about some think system. If he thinks the minuet in G, then he won't have to bother with the notes.
Well...
Now, Professor, that doesn't...
Now, Miss Marion, the think system is a revolutionary new method, I'll admit. But so was Galileo's conception of the heavens, and Columbus's conception of the egg, globe, and Bach's conception of the well-tempered clavichord. Now, I can't discuss these things now, but if I may call on you, when may I call on you?
Why, any night this week.
Pick a little, talk a little, pick a little, talk a little, tick, 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 talk a lot, pick a little more. Pick a little, talk a little, beat it, just come to tell it, their jam, high up, woman, blow, but Cloverdale, pick hard.
You were so deep tonight dancing your shapoopy, Professor Hill. You danced like a fairy princess, with the moonbeams for your floor. You had a golden shimmer in your hair and silver shoes for all to see. We know that you will soon unfold a forgiving heart of purest gold here, where a woman's heart should be.
we have our orders. We all been deputized.
Oh, yes, well, congratulations. Let's see now. You know, all week I've tried to give you my references and credentials, but every time I try to do so, it seems as though we've gotten off the subject somehow. Now, I have just what you want over in the hotel. Take me a second.
I'm afraid that we'll have to go with you.
Oh, all right. Well, let's see if I have my key. Oh, what's this? Why, it's a testimonial from Madame Reaney, the only female bassoon player to ever play the Red Pat circuit. A stage name, of course. Actually, she was from Moline. Lyda Rose Quackenbush.
Could I please just see that?
Oh, you'll never forget the name. Lyda Rose, just like the song. Lyda Rose, I'm home again, Rose.
To get the sun back in the sky. Lyda Rose, I'm home again, Rose. About 1,000 kisses shy. Ding dong ding, I can hear the chapel bell chime. Ding dong ding, at the least suggestion, I'll pop the question. Lyda Rose, I'm home again, Rose, without a sweetheart to my name. Oh, Lyda Rose, now everyone knows that I am hoping you're the same. So here is my love song, not fancy or fine. Lyda Rose, oh, won't you be mine? Lyda Rose, oh, Lyda Rose, oh, Lyda Rose.
Dream of now, dream of then, dream of a love song that might have been. Do I love you? Oh yes, I love you, and I'll bravely tell you, but only when we dream again. Sweet and low, sweet and low. How sweet the memory, how long ago. Forever, oh yes, forever. Will I ever tell you? Oh no.
Lyda Rose, oh, Lyda Rose, oh.
Dream.
Lyda Rose, I'm home again, Rose, to get the sun back in the sky. Lyda Rose, I'm home again, Rose, about 1,000 kisses shy. Ding dong ding, I can hear the chapel bell chime. Ding dong ding, at the least suggestion, I'll pop the question. Lyda Rose, I'm home again, Rose, without a sweetheart to my name. Lyda Rose, now everyone knows that I am hoping you're the same.
Forever. Oh yes, forever.
Not fancy or
Will you ever stop arguing with yourself? Will you tell him? Won't you tell him? Ah, yes. Ah, no. Ah, fiddlesticks. Just open your mouth and let it come out.
Now, Mama.
Now, nothing. If he ever comes to call again, you'll see him alone. And if you haven't got the gumption to tell him how you feel...
Tell him?
Well, there's nothing wrong with a ladylike hint.
Mama.
Winthrop, where you been?
Fishing.
Fishing?
Harold.
You mean Professor Hill?
Mm-hmm, and I still have some worms left.
Oh. Did you have a good time?
Scrumptious. And he told me about his hometown, Gary, Indiana. And he said he'll take me there someday. And he taught me a song that hardly has any S's in it. Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana. Let me say it once again. Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana. That's the town that knew me when. If you'd like to have a logical explanation, how I happened on this elegant syncopation, I will say without a moment of hesitation, there is just one place that can light my face. Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, not Louisiana, Paris, France, New York, or Rome. But Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, my home, sweet home. If you like to have a logical explanation, how I happened on this elegant syncopation, I will say it without a moment of hesitation. There is just one place that can light my face. Gary, Indiana. Gary, Indiana. Not Louisiana, Paris, France, New York, or Rome. But Gary, Indiana. Gary, Indiana. Gary, Indiana. My home, sweet home. I'll be back in a minute. I have to show Amaryllis my live frog. La-dee-da-dee-da.
Oh, leave the dishes, Mama. I'll do them.
Don't you have to change for the sociable?
There's time later.
Do the Shins live around here?
Oh, Shinhome was on West Elm. This is East Elm.
Oh, criminy. Ah, I see you're the piano teacher in town. You must know about this fella Hill forming the boys' band here.
Yes.
Well, don't let that worry you no more. I got the goods on him in spades. Swindling two-bit thimble rigger. That's why I gotta see a Shin. Just passing through. Number 8 only makes a 15-minute water stop. Sure wish it was 20. Would sure like to concentrate 5 minutes on you, girly girl.
Who are you?
Name's Charlie Cowell, Anvil salesman. But just now I'm out to protect the good name of the traveling fraternity from this swindler.
Mr. Cowell, you're making a big mistake.
Mistake my old lady's course to cover. That fella's been the raspberry seed of my wisdom tooth just long enough. He spoiled Illinois for me, but he is not gonna spoil our way. Say, what kind of music teacher are you anyway? You didn't see through him. Why, he's no more professor
Oh,
than...
I know all about that. All band leaders are called professor. It's a harmless deception. He's a fine director in his class.
Now, wait a minute. A fine director? Have you heard one note of music from any band?
No, but that
But nothing, girly girl. He's never formed a band in his life, and he never will.
Mr. Cowell, if you will just listen to me for 1 minute.
I'd like to. I'd like to do more than that if I had the time. I sure got the inclination. But I gotta get back on that train, and I gotta leave this dynamite with somebody on the way to depot. Bye, girly girl. I'll see you next time through.
You'll never make that train at the depot. You'll have to catch it at the crossing.
No, sir. I gotta leave word, and I can see you ain't the one to leave it with.
Oh, but wait a second, Mr. Cowell. You don't know me yet.
Is that an invitation?
No. I mean, I don't know you.
Yes, I need more time anyway.
As well as I'd like to.
Oh, no trouble there, girly girl.
I never met a man who sells anvils. Well, that's something, well, quite different.
Takes a real salesman, I can tell you that. Anvils have a limited appeal, you know. What am I doing? If I miss my train, I'll lose my job, and I gotta leave word about Hill.
Leave word with me.
Not on your tintype, girly girl. How do I know you'll deliver these letters?
Try me. There's your train. brain, now run for it.
Why, you double-dealing little. Who do you think you're protecting? That fella's got a girl in every county in Illinois, and he's taking it away from every one of them. And that's 102 counties. Not to mention the piano teachers like you he cozies up to keep their mouths shut. Neither one of you's here the last of me, girl or girl.
Suggestion, I'll pop the question. Lyda Rose, I'm home again, Rose, without a sweetheart to my name. Good evening, Miss Marianne. Lyda Rose, now everyone knows that I am home.
Marion!
You're the same.
Marion!
So
Marion!
here is my home.
Who was you talking to just a minute ago? Oh, Professor Hill.
Good evening, Mrs. Peru. Miss Marion.
Why don't you two come on up and sit? I've got some jelly on the stove.
There's no jelly on the stove, Mama.
Well, then I'll put some on.
Shall we set, as your mother said?
Well,
You did ask me to call, didn't you?
Did I? I didn't mean anything.
Oh, now, Miss Marion, I'm not suggesting your invitation inferred anything but academic enlightenment. The think system. I've been by a time or two this week to try to explain it to you, but it always seemed as though there were people around. Ladies, mostly, I thought.
Yes, Mrs. Squires and several of the ladies.
Good. Wouldn't want anybody else beating my time. But you wouldn't do that. No, ma'am. Well, it's evidently not the convenient night, so I'll see you later at the sociable.
Professor Hill, is it true that you've had 100? Well, what I'm trying to say is it true that you've developed a think system?
A what? A think system? Oh, yes, of course. Actually, it's very simple. As simple as whistling. And nobody has to show you how to use your lips in whistling. You just think a tune here to have it come out clearly. Now, why don't you try this before you ask any questions?
I take your word.
Could we sit down?
Are all music teachers as dense as I am?
All music teachers?
Oh, I dare say you meet dozens. Even 100. Have they all been as fascinated as I have with the think system?
Well, some more, some less. Actually, one woman had thought of the same system before I got to her town. She showed me a few of the refinements.
I see.
Have I said something wrong?
Please don't let me keep you, Professor Hill. You must have many more important things to do than try to explain the think system to me.
Can't think of one.
And I must be very dull company for a man of your experience.
Now say, where'd you get an idea like that?
One hears rumors of traveling salesmen.
Oh, now, Miss Marion, you mustn't believe everything you hear. After all, one even hears rumors about librarians.
I suppose you're referring to Uncle Matty.
Uncle Matty?
Mr. Madison, my father's best friend. No matter what they say, he left me in a sure job, so Mother Winthrop and I would have some security. Surely you don't believe it.
Of course not. But why do you think people start rumors like that?
Narrow-mindedness. Jealousy. Jealousy mostly, I suppose.
Exactly, and it's jealousy that mostly starts rumors about traveling salesmen. Well, what have you heard?
Nothing about you personally, just generally.
Well, then what have you heard generally?
Just that. But of course it stands to reason that narrow-mindedness and jealousy could lead to... I mean, take you, for instance. Your attentions to customers and teachers. Well, they might easily be misinterpreted, mightn't they? I mean, honestly, mightn't they?
Why?
And so you say if another salesman or somebody were jealous, they could be downright lies, couldn't they?
What could?
Oh, rumors and things.
Why, yes, of course.
It just goes to show that you should never believe everything you hear. I mean, if you discuss things...
Miss Marion, I'd be happy to discuss anything in the world with you, but could we please do it sitting down? You do sit. Your knees bend and all?
We could sit on the porch steps.
Or we could sit on a large hollow log over at the footbridge.
I couldn't think of it. I've never been to the footbridge with a man in my life.
Well, just to talk.
I've got to dress for the sociable.
Well, then meet me there in 15 minutes.
Oh, I just can't, please. Some other time, maybe tomorrow.
My dear little librarian, Pile up enough tomorrows, and you'll find that you've collected nothing but a lot of empty yesterdays. I don't know about you, but I'd like to make today worth remembering.
So would I.
The footbridge. 15 minutes.
15 minutes. Mama! What? I just told Professor Hill I'd meet him at the footbridge in 15 minutes.
Glory be and the saints be praised. It works.
What does?
I've been using the think system on you from the parlor.
Greg, the uniforms have arrived. The kids, they're in them already. You know, if they show up at the sociable, the people are gonna be screaming for music.
Yeah.
Here's most of the dough. I got Tommy collected. He's holding the kids together, pretending to have some kind of rehearsal over at the lumberyard or something.
All right, good, Mars. Now go get the rig.
Okay, I got it.
Well, what time's the freight leave?
9:40 from the junction.
But it's not even 8:30 yet.
Hey, listen, if you want to turtle whirl around here all day and get yourself caught in a bunny trap...
Mars, listen, Mars. I'll meet you over at the hotel in plenty of time.
All right.
All right. Why, Miss Marion, you're late.
But you said 15 minutes.
Oh, I meant that you're, well, I'd say about 26 years late. Took you all this time to get to the footbridge with the fella.
Well, if you want to know the truth, it almost took longer.
Oh?
Halfway here, I nearly turned back. I suppose I'm not the first to find it easier to think clearly when not under the spell of your salesmanship.
Oh, now, Miss Marion, surely you don't think I've been selling you anything.
Oh, no. You've given me something. That's why I decided to come.
But I don't recall giving you...
Yes, you have. Something beautiful. That's why I came, and I'm glad. Oh, please don't be afraid that I expect too much more. One can't expect a traveling salesman to stay put. I know there have been many ports of call, and there will be many more. But that's no reason for me not to be grateful for what you have left behind for me.
Marion,
There were bells on the hill, but I never heard them ringing. No, I never heard them at all till there was you. There were birds
Marion, there's a lot of things you don't know about me.
Greg!
Pardon me, I'm expecting a cable from Hector Berlioz. This could be it now. Now what?
Come on, Greg, who's the salesman? It looks like she's selling your bike.
You nuts, I didn't know I was going to be able to leave tonight. I had to keep her off balance. I told you that.
Well, this girl's so far off balance, you can't tell her from a catboat in a hurricane.
Now you listen to me, Buster Brown. I've come up to the ranks on this skirmish, and I'm not leaving without my commission.
But Greg, you're not getting anywhere right here in the footbridge.
Listen, there's a place over at Madison Picnic Park. Makes the footbridge look like the old ladies' home. Now beat it. Go get the rig. Never a peaceful moment in the music business. Now then, where were we?
You were about to tell me what I don't know about you.
Oh, well, we don't have to go into that right now, do we?
No, we don't. Or ever, for that matter, Harold. A librarian hasn't felt much like doing research lately. But you did plenty when you first came here.
Oh? About what?
About Professor Harold Hill, Garrity Conservatory. Gold medal class of Art 5. Harold, there was no Gary Conservatory in Art 5.
Why, there's certainly...
Because the town wasn't even built until Art 6. See you at the sociable.
You knew all the time?
Since July 7th. 3 days after you came here. I tore this page out of the Indiana Journal. It was originally intended to use against you. But now I give it to you. With all my heart.
But if you knew, why didn't... Why, you little... While 110 cornets played the air, then I modestly took my place as the one and only bass as I oomped up and down the square.
Good night, my someone. Good night, my love.
With 110 cornets right behind.
Our star is shining its brightest light.
There were horns of every shape and sweet dreams be yours, dearest dreams there be.
While 110 cornets played the air.
I wish I may and I wish I might. Now good night, my someone. Good night.
Greg, this guy is crazy. He's going all over town spilling everything.
I'll say I'm crazy. Missed my train, probably lost my job. But I got you now, Hill, and you'll pay. You'd be in the clink right now. Hadn't been for that piano teacher, I told her all about you, and what'd she do? Lily gags me around till I couldn't get the shin. Little dried up man, hungry up.
You shut your mouth, Ralph.
You bully. You blow off. I'll stay in this town till you get yours up, down, through, and sideways. Why, you never even knew the territory.
Greg, come on. Use your stuff. The rig's in the alley. Let's go.
listen to this man.
Why, you gullible green grass goats! Can't you get it through your head that you're being swindled out of your eye teeth right now? This minute. There's a burglar in the bedroom while you're fiddling in the parlor. I'm talking about Harold Hill, road agent, highwayman, pickpocket.
Pickpocket?
Same thing. He's had his hand in your wallet, mister. And yours, madam. And even yours, little lady, ever since the first moment he came to this town. There is more documented evidence than you'll ever have time to read. There isn't any band. There never has been any band. And there never will be any band. And if you don't hunt this man down right now like a mad dog, there won't be any Professor Harold Hill either. He'll be on the next train out of town.
Now you believe me.
Well, what are we waiting for?
I want my money back.
Money back? I want his hide.
After him, and when you find him, bring him to the schoolhouse. After him, try the logo, try the trick, try the mill, after the Friday.
Harold, I've been looking for Winthrop. He's run away. Oh, go, Harold, please. They're even talking about tar and feathers.
I had to see you, Marion.
It's all right. Don't you know that? You don't owe me a word, not one word.
Greg! I don't know. He's nowhere around here. Let's try down by the creek. Ha ha!
Oh, Winthrop!
Hold on a minute there, son.
I'm not your son. Let me go.
Not till I talk to you for a minute.
I won't listen. You won't tell me the truth anyway.
Would to tell you anything you want to know.
Are you a big liar?
Yes.
Can you lead a band?
No.
Are you a dirty, rotten crook?
Yes.
Let me go, you big liar!
What's the matter? You wanted the truth, didn't you? Now I'm bigger than you, and you're gonna stand here and get it all, so you might as well quit wiggling. There. Now there's two things you're entitled to know. One, I think you're a great kid. Have since the start. That's why I wanted you to be in the band so you quit moping around feeling sorry for yourself.
What band?
I always think there's a band, kid.
Well, what's the other thing I'm entitled to know?
Well, now that I think about it, it's not any of your business.
I wish you never come to River City.
No, you don't, Winthrop.
Sister, you believe him?
I believe every word he ever said.
What he promised?
I know what he promised us. And it all happened just like he said. With the lights and the flags and the colors and the symbols.
Where was all that?
And the way every kid walked around here all summer. And looked and acted. Especially you. And the parents. Does Mama wish he'd never come to River City?
Well, you do, don't you?
No, Winthrop. Now go, Harold, please.
Go on, Professor, hurry up.
I can't go, Winthrop.
Why not?
Because for the first time in my life, I've got my foot caught in the door. There was love all around, but I never heard it singing. No, I never heard it at all, till there was you.
which is why I interrupted the program at this point. Rest assured this snake in our bosom would have been misapprehended by now. Yes, and always remember, fellow river citizens, that I did everything in my power to prevent this dire happening from happening. Fourscore.
What have you done to get our money back? That professor collected $300 on uniforms just tonight.
And he hasn't even seen the uniforms yet.
He's slippery, I told you.
I haven't seen a uniform or my boy either since just after supper.
He's a kidnapper.
Fine situation here.
Fourscore. Just a minute. Virtue has triumphed. The sword of retribution has cut down Professor Harold Hill. And if there are those, as I have heard, who are melting tar and gathering feathers, I will not say them nay.
Well, I should think there ought to be some of you who could forget our everlasting Iowa stubborn, chip on the shoulder arrogance long enough to remember the River City before Harold Hill arrived. Do you remember? Well, do you? Surely some of you ought to be grateful to him for what he has brought to River City. And if so, I think you should want to admit it.
You're wasting a great deal of time here. If there's a person in this gymnasium who doesn't think this man Hill should be tarred and feathered, let him stand up. Eulalie, sit down. And the rest of you are standing there like a coat of Shropshire sheep. Have you people forgotten how you bought expensive uniforms, technical instruction books, and high-priced band instruments? And have you forgotten the clear understanding and warranty that your children will be taught to play in a band? Well, where's the band? Where's the band? Where's the band?
The minuet in G. Think, men. Think.
That's Winthrop!
It has always been a tradition at the North Allegheny Musicals to spend some time in the closing night show to thank those people who maybe aren't up here right now, but without whose contributions the show would not be possible. This will only take 10 minutes, so thank you for allowing us to recognize these wonderful volunteers.
Hi, we've been extraordinarily lucky this year at the Music Man to have so many wonderful parent volunteers, and if we took the time to thank each one of them individually, we'd probably have a whole nother show on our hands. So you can obviously, judging by the program, that we have tons and tons of people that have put in a tremendous amount of effort and their free time to contribute to make this performance wonderful. We'd especially like to thank Mrs. Slovak from the Pick a Little Ladies, who designed our sailor outfits, and Mrs. Dickinson, who created all of these lovely hats. Also, Mrs. Carlini, she was the parent coordinator who got everything together. So I'm sorry that we can't list all of you individually. You will be receiving gifts, I promise, and they're lovely. And we'd like to thank all of you right now, because thank you so much for all the extra time that you put in. It really shows you care.
All the sets you see behind us and all the props that you see was done by the stage crew. The senior members of the stage crew are B.J. Abbott, T.J. Lee, and Don Rao. We couldn't do it without you guys.
thank our cast coordinators, Hope Fitzgerald and Eve O'Neill. They've spent many hours working with us, prompting us with lines, and Hope Fitzgerald has bowed out of the show in order to help out with the musical. So we thank you very much.
A great deal of the musical is dealt with money, and we've had 3 business managers that took care of all the money for sweatshirts and flowers and things like that. They're Leah Zhang, Susan Spina, and Ember Hicksonbaugh. Thank you very much.
I would like to thank the student directors, Gail Bender, Abby Carlin, and Mark Chayton, who have put in so many extra hours and have done so much to get the show organized. Thank you very much.
I don't think enough people realize how many hundreds of props there are that go into a show. And for this musical, one man did it all. Mr. Douglas Johnson, we'd like to thank you very much for all of your hard work.
I would like to thank Mr. Frank Farina, who is the assistant director of the pit. He's a wonderful man, and whenever Mrs. Laverty couldn't be here, he directed us to the best visibility, and it was wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Farina.
I'd like to thank Mrs. Laverty. She's put endless hours into this show, and without her, we wouldn't have been able to go from, as Ms. Peru would call, experimental blats to the wonderful sounds that you've heard this evening. Thank you very much.
Also, we would very much like to thank the choreographer and my sister, Chelsea Otley.
A lot of the behind-the-scenes work is done by Mrs. Carr, who is always up in this office up here, takes care of it's right up here. The guy's waving up there. She takes care of everything that goes on behind the scenes. She made the bulletin board. She takes care a great deal with publicity, and she has shown the cast so much love and dedication. Clint, Jenny, and I, a couple weeks back, were studying some monologues for acting class out in the hall, and she's walking up to us, and she has the biggest smile on her face. We're all like, what's going on, Miss Carr? And she said, I'm proud to say that I am now a grandmother.
At the beginning of this performance, we were introduced with a new tech director, Mr. Mark Bajeric. He's coming up the side here. Mark was a student here. Well, I won't tell you how old he is. He's done a great job keeping everybody happy and working with everybody else. It's really hard to describe Mark because he has many different personalities. He had a lot of technical expertise that he shared with all of us, professional jobs that he's worked on from California all the way over to Pennsylvania, and it was great working with him. Thanks, Mark.
I just want to thank the most important person in my life, who, even though I don't always act like it, but my mommy. She was the choral director, and she dealt with all of us and made us into beautiful singers, and she deals with me at home too, which is really hard, so thank you, Mom.
Another new addition to the musical cast this year was Mr. John Dolphin. He came aboard as a assistant director, and did a phenomenal job. He was always here helping with lines, helping with blocking, and he took care of us backstage in terms of props, and everybody up here who's old, he took care of that. He made them look old, so did a great job.
Okay, I'd like to take this time to thank a really very, very special man, Mr. Scott Rittman. He's a very, very busy guy, and he took out so much time to help out the cast, and he was here at, many, many rehearsals, and he really took his time and spent it with us, and we really appreciate it. He spent time with individuals, helping them with their lines and their characters, and we really appreciate all his help. Thank you, Mr. Rittman.
And last but not least, I'd like to thank our director, Mrs. Dee Dee Rittman, who is a very extraordinary and wonderful woman. This is her first time as full-time director. Coming in last year, she had a tough act to follow, and as of now, I can't think of anyone who would have done a better job than you, Mrs. Rittman. And not only is she in charge of direction, but all these fine costumes that you see are her doing. So she's a very busy woman, and she's lovely, and we all love her.
All right, well, as one final note, throughout the entire show, we are informed that we are now a family. This entire cast has been taken care of by each other, and all of us pitched in together and would like to thank our parents very much with these flowers, and that's on behalf of the entire cast, crew, orchestra, and the rest of the staff. We say thank you very much.
First, thank you for being such a great audience. Wow, it was really great that everybody got all these lines tonight. And next, ladies and gentlemen, I've had a wonderful first year as director. I really have to give special thanks to my husband because he gave up a lot of his real job to be here at school with me. And Scotty, I really appreciate it. And John Dolphin has been great. My whole staff has been wonderful. We have had a true team effort. If you read my From the Director, you know that that's how I look at things. And every kid here has been part of the team. And parents, thanks for lending me your kids for 3 months. They've been great. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.